Buying or selling a home is one of the most important decisions you'll make in your entire life. Call the Holly Ritchie team today for a free market analysis.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Spanning the Need. I am your host, Anthony Spano. We have a very special show for you tonight. As you can see, we have a crowd of people today. Tonight, we're going to be talking about Miss Dana's Diamond Tumblers and Cheerleaders. And we talk about where they are, what they do, and how they help the community in general. Dana, thank you, and all of Kelly and Anna and your kids, thank you for joining me tonight.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And I can tell they all look really excited because they're going to be on TV and everything like that. So we'll get to you guys just in a little bit. But Dana, let's talk about Miss Dana's Diamonds. Talk about kind of how you kind of got started and where you are today with it and what it's about.
Sure. So I started with 2 mats actually in my car. I used to work at Youngstown Gymnastics Center. And I got 2 mats after we got married. We paid for our own money on our own, and we took the little money we had, we made an investment. And I went to this lady's house, and she said, I'll get you business. So I went to people's houses, teaching tumbling in their living rooms, which now kind of brings me back to our roots, what we're doing now. And then I started with a small cheer team at a tumbling class, and now I've had up to 5 cheer teams and multiple tumbling classes in private. I do those out of my home. And I even have an affiliate at Salem Community Center where I run classes as well. So we've expanded quite a bit.
And what makes this group special? You have Reagan and Cameron and Mary. What makes this group very special to you?
So these guys underneath me, they have been there pretty much since the beginning. Kelly's kids, Cameron and Reagan, they both have autism. And they They didn't do cheer my initial year, but they did the tumbling class. And they really badly wanted to do the cheer group. And I said, well, there's no reason they can't. So we created a special needs group for those girls. And we found other girls and we said, we're going to make it happen. Just because the music might need to be a little slower and other things, we just made those accommodations for them. And then over the years, we've just grown and had different kiddos join. And then Miss Ann down there and Mary, I want to say I'm losing track. It's like their 6th year. Maybe 7.
Yes.
And she's been with me quite a long time. And Mary, since she was a tot, she was 3 or 4, somewhere in that
Not
age.
even. She was just
Not even
3.
Yeah, so she was quite a tot. So a lot of the little ones like her that I've started with now, it's amazing to see that growth in time over the years. And Ann's been with me through, and Kelly, just through thick and thin with any business. They're really like not only just team moms, but they're like my best friends and they're there for me. And not just me, but like the girls, the families, these moms and Miss Dana's as a whole, like we're not just a tumbling and cheer group. We're really about a lot more than just what happens and transpires at cheerleading. We always want to take that out into the community and just in general with relationships with other families too and these girls and out in the community. So, that's kind of where these ladies are a special place in my heart and those girls.
Well, you said if I said it correctly, you had 5 or 6 teams?
So this year we cut down to 4 because of COVID. I did combine 2 groups. Obviously, like if a family is out with COVID and sometimes I have 2 siblings, we tried to make it so we would have subs. Because I'm very strict. You can ask these 2 moms. I'm like a germphobe to begin with, and I'm just open about it. So I'm always about keeping your kids safe, number 1, and safety I'm really a freak about. So I refuse to have a smaller number and put these kids out there and risk a safety issue with, them stunting or whatever is needed. So we kind of have like extra girls. And what's really been great is kids like Mary and Cameron especially have learned to accommodate whatever position I need them in. If I'm like, hey, you know what, Cam, I need you to be a base today. She'll be a base. Hey, Cam, I need you to be a front spot today. She'll be a front. Then I got my girl Mary who's like, Miss Dana, remember this? Okay, we did this over here. So it's really about, learning to be in whatever role is possible during COVID. And I think a lot of us can vouch that these kids have more flexibility than most adults do in their one pinky. Sometimes I've had moms over the years who are like, oh, don't please move my daughter's spot. you know what, that little girl, she will accommodate and do whatever she needs to do. And that's really kind of the backbone behind COVID, I figured out. A lot of people think this is kind of, I guess, strange, but a lot of people will think I'm like miserable at home because I homeschool my kids and they don't see kids and they don't do this and that. But we've learned, again, like to accommodate and do different things. And I keep telling my kids, I think I've done more things this year than I normally would have done on a regular year. So it's just about having to and I'm a very type A OCD person, but I've learned to be flexible and roll with the punches as of all these kids. And I think that's just a phenomenal thing to witness. And hopefully, a lot of parents are worried, or other people oh, how is this going to affect my daughter's mentality? You know what? This is probably one of the best things for your kids, is to teach them how to adapt to change.
And well, and when you said, it was funny because when you said that you were a germaphobe, Anne's eyes just went up. And I'm like, oh boy, here we go.
She takes it to an extreme. There is no getting sick at her place.
Right. True story.
Well, there's nothing wrong with that. And let's talk with you a little bit. And your daughter Mary is what has some of the things that Mary has learned from being a part of Miss Dana's Diamonds?
I would say definitely being her discipline. She's very disciplined in what she does. Sometimes to a fault. She gets that from us. She likes things to be just as they should be. And being with Miss Dana, it has taught her some flexibility with that. When she first started with Dana several years ago, okay, here's your spot. This is where you're going to be. You're going to be on this little round red marker. Remember those?
When they're little.
And if her spot changed, it was interesting because if I did anything with it, it was the end of the world. But if Miss Dana moved it or something changed, it wasn't as big of a deal. So it's helped even me as a parent work with my child's strengths and weaknesses to get her to do what I need her to do. That sounds really bad, but I don't mean it to sound like it does.
Well, I think at any age, no matter if you're 6, 7, 8, 10, 12, or even 18, I think it helps them build character and build on themselves, if I'm correct on that.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Not in 2020, but in 2019, Mary had an unfortunate freak accident. 2019. Don't argue with me on camera.
Hey, we're all here to have fun.
I'm like, don't argue with me on camera. See? Anyway, she was in a freak accident. She broke her tibia and fibula. Ooh. And sliced off part of the bone.
Not tumbling.
Not tumbling. It was a freak sled riding accident.
Nothing to do with tumbling or cheerleading.
Nothing.
No.
But her team, they are so much more than just a team. They're friends and they're family. I'm not joking you, she broke her leg on Saturday. That following Saturday was a competition. She got herself in her uniform, in a wheelchair, full leg cast from toe to thigh, and we were there. And she didn't compete, obviously, but she sat with her team off the tumble mat and cheered them on, and they brought her up for awards. And I mean, it was like that through the whole year. Miss Dana worked with her, even while she was in her cast, obviously with our approval. I mean, that was me. Dana didn't want to do it, but I'm like, she's fine. So, I mean, it's been a great experience. She doesn't let the kids move on to skill until it's safe to do so. And I that's what I love about Miss Dana is she's more patient than I am. She's very caring and wants it to be done correctly, not just because I want to do a back handspring. Well, there's things to do to get to that point.
And Mary, what has been your greatest accomplishment kind of with the cheerleading and tumble group of Miss Dana?
You don't know? No.
You could. Hey, you don't.
I'll help you. How about you're working on your back handspring?
After having a year
do
off.
Front to back walkover. Those are big deals, huh?
When she started, she couldn't do a cartwheel, and I was totally embarrassed. I'm not going to lie. I'll never forget it. We got to the studio. It was right before the Canfield Fair, and she's bawling her eyes out because I'm leaving her there. She's 3 years old. She's crying, and Dana's like, can she do a cartwheel? I'm like, no. Never thought this child would even be able to do a cartwheel. And now I mean, here we are 6 years later, and I mean, yeah, cartwheel's easier to learn, but
I think too with her, one of we were going to talk about too, like one of the greatest accomplishments with her is her flexibility has grown, and like
yeah.
so with private lessons and everything being on Zoom, especially we Zoomed in the spring and summer, then we went back to in person, and then we did have a COVID case, so I shut down just out of extra precaution, and we went to Zoom through Christmas, and we just started back at the studio. But Mary here, she's at her mom's work during her private lesson because they switched to help out another family. And because of that, she has no mats,
Nope.
no couch, no nothing. She works out in her mother's office, like she has her own little room, on a brick wall and a cement floor. And I always tell the other girls, there's no excuses because Mary has learned to do the drills and do different conditioning things and not just complain, well, I want to do my back handspring. She's seen that this other stuff is important, and that's quite an accomplishment to be able to show that flexibility and like, hey, I'll do whatever, wherever you say, and she trusts me. Like she knows that I wouldn't put her at risk, even if she's on a brick wall and a cement floor. And I appreciate that from the parents more than anything, that they trust me with their kids.
Mary, what's your favorite thing you like to do with Miss Dana's group?
What about helping out rock stars?
Oh, that's a good one.
Then tell him that. He doesn't bite.
Maybe Mommy
He
can
can't bite you from here.
I'm sorry, could you speak a little louder into my ear?
Go ahead.
Go ahead, tell him.
Go ahead, Mary. You're okay.
Helping out on the Rockstar team with special needs kids.
And what do you do?
What do you do there?
Do you help me with Elisa?
How do you help with Elisa? You can use Elisa's name. It's okay.
How do I help with her?
How do you help Miss Dana with Elisa?
She's humbling herself.
Do you help her?
She's a very humble child. She's very much so. I would agree with that.
She does amazing with the rock stars. She helps out a lot.
You like Disney, right, Mary? What's your favorite character?
Cinderella.
Why do you like Cinderella the most?
I don't know.
You just love Cinderella, don't you? What's your favorite ride at Disney?
What have you rides at Disney?
You didn't ride any rides at Disney because you're a chicken.
Sorry, didn't want to bring that out.
Here, you want to get her talking? Talk about horses.
Oh, yes. You should hear the
What kind of
horse.
horse do you ride?
What kind of horse would you
What kind
like?
of horses do you ride?
Well, I ride quarter.
Don't tell me, tell him.
I ride a quarter horse.
Those are nice. Have you ever seen a Clydesdale?
Yes.
Do you like a Clydesdale horses?
Yes. I actually rode one bareback when I was like 5 years old.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I bet you that was an experience.
He was a good horse.
I love Clydesdales. Sorry, I like the certain commercial of Clydesdales.
Yeah.
But I love Clydesdales. I love Clydesdales. Love it because if you think of Clydesdales, what do you think of? Christmas.
Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
They're gentle.
So-
They're so gentle.
They are. Well, we're gonna get into this horse thing here in a minute. Don't you worry. We're gonna come back to you in a second. Kelly, what is your two ladies now? Kind of I know that you said they have autism.
Mm-hmm.
How have they adapted to? I mean, I will say it. Cheerleading is a sport.
It is.
And tumbling is a sport.
It is.
I know what they go through. Okay, I'm with you. So, what have you kind of learned, or what has the girls really learned that you've seen the difference in?
I'll tell you, the biggest thing for us is, like Dana said, whenever they started out in a tumble class, and they would peek in through the window of Dana's cheer classes, and they wanted to do it so bad. Well, at the time, there was nothing out there for special needs kids, nothing. No sports, no resources, no anything. So Dana decided to form the group for the special needs kids, and that has done everything for them. Because, special needs kids may have special needs, They may have mobility issues or cognitive issues or whatever, but on the inside, they're still kids and they still want to do normal things. So this allowed them to actually doing normal activity that other kids were doing. And that helped them to relate to other girls, allowed them to be around typical girls, so they kind of became familiar with the typical girls became familiar with them. It allowed them to become friends with them. It improved their self-esteem as, we would go or do competitions and perform on stage. And while they'd be on stage, the crowd just goes nuts for the special needs kids. Everybody's at standing ovation. We've actually had competitions where the judges were crying. It's done everything for them. And it's allowed them to feel like normal girls.
Reagan, I'll go to you first. What have you really learned from being a part of Miss Dana's group? What have you really learned and really kind of accomplished when you've been with that group?
Taught you cheer moves and skills, huh?
Yeah.
The woman, a few words, huh?
Yeah.
She'll hey, I know, Ray. Tell her about your kickover that you do sometimes better than your sister. Wink, wink.
Oh,
Yeah.
You have a little competitive.
I'm glad I'm on telephone conference calls and not in the same room.
They are competitive with each other.
So, Reagan, just what have you learned that you really makes you a better person? Like, I understand, like your mom said, you have autism. How's that helped you? Because I think what people may not realize is, from what I'm getting from your mom and from Miss Dana, is that her group has really helped you to make you a better person. So how has that helped you? Because I think people want to hear your story. I think it's a great story.
Have you made new friends?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lots of them, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So
and she's a good
you're not
leader.
the talkative one, huh?
She's not very talkative.
Quiet one.
Cam will talk for you, Cam. Huh, Cam? Will you help your sister out for us? Can you
Look
help
at, she's ready to go. She's ready
Cam
to
will
go.
help her.
Don't you, Reagan, I'm coming back to you. Don't you worry. I got hard-hitting questions for you, too, so don't you worry.
Well, and I'm going to brag on Cam for just a second, because not only is she on the Rockstars team as special needs team, she's also on the typical senior team also. So she's actually on both squads. And what I love about Miss Dana is all the uniforms are the same. So it doesn't matter what team you're on, you wouldn't know the difference. So
what level or anything like that.
Right. Cam she rocks. She's on both teams and she holds her own, and it's great.
So Cam, what have you learned to kind of help you with life and with what your story is about?
Like, does it taught you to be flexible?
Like learning how to be flexible and confident in yourself and like that stuff.
Yeah.
Well, I think I think like your mom says, it's helped you from a variety of different stuff that you're able to do a lot of stuff better. Mm-hmm. So how does that kind of
struggles?
Yeah. How has that helped you through your life? Because I think what I would like to get is kind of your story on how Miss Dana's group has helped you progress in life.
You started volleyball because of it too, right, Kel?
Yeah.
Like she built the confidence from cheer to try other sports too.
Yeah.
With those girls, with typical girls too, huh, Cam?
And like I say, it's really helped in her flexibility because she used to be very rigid in her routine and everything she did. Well, in cheer, 1 week, we'll perform the routine one way. The next week, we may change it and do something completely different. So she's had to learn to adapt to that, which was really tough for her for a while. But over the years, she's gotten way better, not only in cheerleading, but in life, how life's been throwing us punches here. And Cam's learned to kind of roll with it, which is huge for her. Because like I say, she was very, very rigid. So that's helped her a ton. Hasn't it, Cam?
So has that helped you with like time management and concentrating on stuff? Because I know depending on what diagnosis, and I don't want to get into that, but has that helped you with kind of moving forward education wise and accomplishment wise?
Yeah.
I would say so. And self-esteem wise.
Okay.
You've definitely become more confident over the years I've known you, Cam.
Yeah. You used to actually be quiet.
Because she even wants to do her back handspring. She wants to accomplish skills. And Cam, I think her mom agrees. I think because we've had the typical girls mixed with special needs girls, she's learned to, she would talk to the helpers before, but now Kelly, I've seen her engage in full conversations on her own.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's a really big deal. Like, she's not afraid or nervous to talk to the other girls. And furthermore, she's really this year especially stepped up as a leader to just demonstrate, conditioning or stretching or, doing her other skills or just like running a routine move. She's just grown exponentially with how she, outwardly shows that confidence too as a whole. And I know
Absolutely.
track and other things over the years too.
Absolutely.
Dana, talk about your special needs, because many people may not know this, that you have a special needs group. And if I'm correct.
Mm-hmm.
And talk a little bit about that, how that got started, and how has it progressed over the years, because I think that's something that people may not understand, on that you have specific needs or whatever your diagnosis may be, that you're able to help them in a variety of different ways.
So, like we said, it started because Cameron and Reagan wanted to do the typical group. So I veered off and started their own. And I also had, from teaching at Youngstown Gymnastics Center, a little girl with Down syndrome. And she wanted to be a part of things too. So I had her.
Sorry.
I told her, that's okay, and reached out to her.
It's fine.
That's okay. And so we started a special needs group. And we've had kids with different varying between physical needs or, whether it's more mental, like autism or Kelly can probably, like SPD, did I say that right?
Mm-hmm.
Like sensory processing disorder and some other things. We've had kids with spina bifida. And then I'm going to try not to cry.
Cerebral palsy.
Yeah. And then we've had kids with like Chloe who are wheelchair bound. We've had kids in walkers. We've had kids who can't walk. So the team has changed the dynamics over the years depending on who we have. I don't sugarcoat it. I don't have like a special needs like therapy degree. I'm not a physical therapist. I just I kind of like it takes me some time, but I just figure out how that child functions, and then I just kind of figure out what they need and what helps them to make them like be successful. And with them, sometimes it's not just it's not instantaneous. It's over the course of a season or multiple seasons that I'm able to help them. Just like any child, when I first get a child, I have to get to know them. But just with special needs, because maybe they're not verbal, it takes me a little longer to figure out like how they tick. Like I can rattle off, 20 personality things on each of Cameron and Reagan because I've had them for so long. I know that Ray is secretly competitive. I know that she's my woman of few words. But she will type things to me, like Reagan will text me or on Facebook, like she knows things. And I think that's another really important part that just we've tried to spread the word with these special needs events that we do, that with the special needs team, I saw a need to share how we're inclusive. And with the Walnut Grove, then we became part of that. And then I started those events because we want to show kids like Mary and other typical kids that these kids can be included. And because of people like Mary and Ann with their big hearts, I'm able to have a special needs team because those are the kids like I can ramble off like Lily and Hannah, these other kids over the years that have really stepped in and helped those kids and helped spread how to be inclusive. And I think that that's our overall message. And like Ann said, I've always from day one dressed my kids all the same. And I'm sure you haven't been to a cheer call, so I'll just give you the rundown. if you go to a cheerleading competition, my girls are dressed very modestly. I mean, we're not like Amish in there, but we're very modest. My girls are covered. They look wholesome. Our makeup is pretty much like what I'm wearing. We don't have, I mean, they do have glitter nowadays, but other than that, we don't do fake eyelashes. We don't do tattoos. We don't do all this extra
Poofies.
stuff.
The fake
We don't
poofs.
do poofs,
Oh yes.
but we went through a
Those
couple
are fake.
where I was trying to
Yeah.
find
That's what I said. I didn't know
What?
that either.
what?
Yeah.
Would you say?
Fake poofs.
He didn't know the poofs were fake.
Yeah, they're fake poofs. So there's just a lot in the industry that I said from day one after I went to a conference that I refuse to conform to that industry. I am a rule follower, but I refuse to not let little girls look little and their age appropriateness. But so anyway, over the years, like I've just always kept their uniforms the same. And the moms over the years, like everything that I'm telling you is really what other parents pointed out to me. It's not like I set out to be like, like, but the moms have shown me what my message was underneath, that I do treat like Cameron and Reagan the same as Mary. Nobody has like special treatment just because like you do or don't have special needs. I, accommodate, like even like in Mary's class, there's different kids who have different needs, whether they can do a back handspring or a back walkover. We don't all just do the same activity all the time. And that's part of my educational background that I do have a teaching degree, and I did have a couple special ed classes. But I think that's really, like Ann said and Kelly, like what makes Miss Dana's Diamonds like who we are. And it took me, they both know, a really long time. Like I never thought I'd be doing these events and podcasts and on the news and radios. Like, I mean, gosh, and I still need my hands called. I drag them on to sign on for stuff like this. I mean, it's really a crazy thing that I've been able to finally find myself and say, you know what? I don't need to be the gym down the street with 400 athletes or the gym over there with 300 athletes. I'm okay being the gym with 80 athletes and being proud of each and every single one of them and treating them like, they're gold, because they really are all valuable to me. I don't want anybody to feel like, oh, she's her favorite or she's in the back because she doesn't like her mom or whatever it is. And just the other message that we do build confidence. We do provide, we do want kids to be inclusive. And I'm very proud, like in the last couple of years, people have called me and said I could join any gym, but I want to come to you because of the message that you share. And I'm just proud to say that, like, it's not like I woke up one day and was like, yeah, I'm going to make this message so people come to me. It's just something that I really truly am inside, and the reason we really do those special needs events, it's not because I want my business to be up in the lights and be on the news. It's because those special needs kids, they don't get to go trick or treating. They don't get to do egg hunts. And I've realized that having special needs kids at these, at cheer, and I want people to realize, like, life isn't always easy for all those kids.
And the
Let
girls
me,
love
I have,
helping out at those.
I have to ask a question. How did you come up with Miss Dana's Diamonds? I understand the Dana part. Why is everyone laughing?
I really don't know. Like, I remember when I started my business, I mean, I think because I've known, like, my wedding was, so I guess I'll go back. My wedding was like pink. And if you know me, the ladies below know, I pretty much wear pink and black and gray. Like, I like pink, and my theme was pink and diamonds, which they were fake, but not like people are like, oh, I have like orange and green and purple and yellow. Mine was like, no, it's like pink and bling. So I think I was like, people knew me as like pink and bling. And my engagement ring, which I don't, it's like over there, had Josh actually is like pink. There's like pink, not diamonds, but pink rocks in it, which is unique. People usually just have all diamonds. So I think that's where I got it from. And I remember somebody saying, like, that's such a terrible name for your business. You can't shorten that because the initials are bad. And I'm like, yeah, but I just really like, diamonds are shiny and they're built from, oh, that's what it is. What are they? So diamonds are made under pressure, So I thought, how cheerleading and tumbling is, you go from this little piece of coal and you evolve into something beautiful like a diamond. And really like my slogan. Is that what you call it? I'm so not professional and stuff like that. It's like where every child shines. And even that, like,
Your
I had
motto.
thought that, like, right out of the gate when I started my business, things have really, like, been a more natural, like, evolving, I think Kelly and Ann could say. Like, I've just, grown, like Ann said, exponentially, and Kelly, like, with where things are. I don't, like, force them to happen, I guess. And then the dog's name is Diamond. The dog's like the mascot. I don't know.
What kind of dog?
She's actually black.
You'd think if you let her.
Yeah, she would be pink. She's supposed to be white, but my husband convinced me to get black. So everybody looks at her like, her name's Diamond. Her name's Diamond Diva. she's a
Pink coat.
she's a black cockapoo.
Oh boy.
So
Well, actually, you mentioned a little bit earlier that things have kind of changed for you in 2020, and now we're kind of in the pandemic. How, and this is for kind of anyone that wants to jump in, and we'll start with Kelly and then kind of work to Ann and Dana. How has, because normally you're probably doing maybe one class a week, or I'm not sure how the schedule works, but how has the pandemic really hurt, or maybe it hasn't been a challenge for your family, your girls, and your tumblers? Kelly, we'll start with you.
It has been a challenge because of COVID. For a while, since we had a COVID case, we had to go on Zoom. So the girls weren't actually in the gym doing, tumbling and cheerleading. We were all doing it from home, which at first we thought, oh man, we got to do this from home. But actually, my girls really got into it, and they've grown a lot actually doing it on Zoom. They've gotten a lot better and increased their skills. It is kind of hard for our group, though, because some of our special needs kids that we have, some of them can't really wear a mask or keep it on. They're not really aware of social distancing. Some of them like to hug. Some of them like to be held. So that's been, a little bit.
It's understandable.
Yeah, that's been a little difficult for some of them, trying to keep them apart and keep everybody safe. Although so far we've managed. We sanitize everything. We make everybody that can wear masks to wear masks, and we're sanitizing hands constantly. So, we've kept everybody safe, but it has been a challenge.
Reagan, do you like the Zoom, or do you like being in the studio or in the gym? What feels better for you?
I think like in the gym better.
And why is that?
do you like the mats, Reagan, in the tumble track we got?
Mm-hmm.
And being around the other girls.
Yeah.
Of course, she gets to hang out with
Cameron, Cameron, what about you? Have you liked the Zoom, or you like your sister, you like being in the gym?
Definitely the gym, because basically I get kind of stressed out. Basically I have like severe anxiety, and basically like I really don't know what I'm doing on Zoom unless if I'm in person. I basically know like what more stuff to do than other on like online stuff. So basically I like it better.
And I would expect that kind of being you guys seniors, or what's your grade level?
Oh, we graduated.
They graduated.
Okay, so you in college?
We're taking time off right now because of COVID.
I don't blame you. I think everyone.
Yeah, because of the transitions and stuff. Yeah, so we're taking a year off. We're going to wait and see.
Cooped up in the house? Like, you don't like being cooped in it? Because I like to go out and enjoy it. Would that kind of be in agreement with you two, Reagan and Cameron?
Yeah. You guys would rather do it in person, huh?
Oh, yeah.
Cameron, what's really about this year, Cameron has really been smart about taking advantage of, like, because of Zooming and just, we knew it when we started the season again. We knew there was a risk we would be on Zoom at some point, and, for any given length of time. So we've utilized, which I'm not a technology person, but I've been utilizing the band app, and I recorded all the girls' dances and all of their choreography, and Cameron's really took it upon herself to watch those videos, because the kids who are old enough are included in those groups, and she'll text me like, is this when we do this? Is this the right part? So, despite her anxiety of maybe the Zoom is too hard, she goes beyond the classroom time, and she'll, study the videos and study things, and then she'll come back with questions. So again, like, she's adapted on her own and she doesn't even know that, you know, right, Kelly? Like,
Absolutely.
Ann and Mary, right. And I totally agree that I think a lot of people have had to kind of adapt to what we're going through now, working from home and teaching your kid at the same time. I know that's a lot going on. Ann and Mary, what has kind of been your, either, I wouldn't say frustrations, but have you kind of, how has the pandemic changed kind of the way you've done stuff with Miss Dana's group?
As far as what we do with Miss Dana, we still, I hate to say this, it sounds terrible, but I've really enjoyed having things on Zoom. We're not late. I'm not running to get to the studio to get her there on time and make sure her shoes are on. You know, Mary knows that she's got to be on Zoom at this day, at this time. And because we're at our office working still, you know, she has to have that responsibility. I mean, I feel a little bad because it's made her grow up faster than probably what she should be for a 9-year-old, but she had to. I mean, if she wants to do this, she had to get herself on Zoom. She's literally in a teeny tiny old classroom that the carpet is this thick. I mean, it's literally just so that way it's not on concrete. And she has a teeny tiny little space. I mean, it's not even 5 feet wide, that she practices.
That girl does back walkovers in it, handstands. She has not let it stop her.
But she wants to do it, you know, and that's the important thing. Like, she'll ask, you know, do I have call today? And she'll know what time she has to get on. But I've enjoyed the Zoom because we haven't been late. So that's been it's this week we went back to the studio and I was actually on time both days. So
Mary, what do you like? Do you like the Zoom or do you like the in-person?
I like
or
the
both.
in-person better.
And why is that?
Because I don't have to listen to my brother playing on his tablet.
What's that slogan that the one show the kids will say the darndest?
Yeah.
I think, and Dana, how has it changed the way you deliver to your kids? I mean, this pandemic has been, you can only have a certain amount of people in a room or in a gym type atmosphere. Some gyms were closed for a certain amount of time. So how have kind of you adapted and how's it hurt you or helped you?
Yeah, I'm like all over the place. So I waited to open a month or so past when we were allowed. I'm a safety freak and a germ phobe. So I waited. If you read it, you're supposed to have 3 months worth of supplies before you open back up. And by golly, I wanted to have 3 months of supplies so I wasn't scrounging for masks or extra masks for the kids or cleaner. I had to research, as were other gyms. I actually was in communication with gyms across America and in Florida. Honestly, it is already. It's taking a toll on our mats. The number of sanitizing that we have to do or that I want to do, it's starting to break down the mats, which stinks because there's thousands and thousands of dollars invested in those mats, obviously, for the business to even go. But it's worth it for the kids' safety and mine and my own family to protect them. There are the families who have left, obviously, due to the pandemic, who aren't comfortable just in general with either being around other people or being out. We've been very strict about our safety protocols, about kids being 6 feet apart, about wearing masks when they have to, sanitizing their hands. We sanitize shoes. They're not I don't even wear the team moms. Nobody wears street shoes in the building. We don't share mats with the kids. They each have their own mat, their own station. So
staggered water breaks.
Yeah, even separate water breaks. We leave the door open when we can or a window. I actually renovated. Is that the right word? I actually renovated my back patio at home to accommodate not bringing families into my house for private lessons, because it was just something that needed done. If I wanted to do private lessons, I'm still not ready to let families in my home, masked or not. We actually, and I don't care, I'll speak about it, we don't actually really haven't had anybody here at all at my home, not even family, because I'm really that not there yet. And what I really appreciate about the clients that I have is, I could cry. They love me for who I am too and trust me with their girls, but they've also not attacked me or, why are we doing it this way? And I know some people are unhappy, and some people were unhappy that we were on Zoom longer than we probably, anticipated to. But really, overall, I think the parents, they really get me. I don't know what other word to use. Like they
We get
understand.
your quirks.
What?
We get your quirks.
Yeah, they don't question what I'm doing. Like, why are we on Zoom, or why did we have this happen, or whatever. So they trust me with whatever decision I'm making, that's in the best interest of their children and mine and their own families too. I mean, we could have went back in the studio in December. I just personally, after we had to quarantine a couple families, it was more like selective quarantine, I guess. We were very fortunate; nothing spread, and it's because of the protocols we did. But I didn't want to. I didn't want to have that worry on my heart or anybody else's heart right before Christmas. I felt like how awful that if I had to call a family and say, you know what, your daughter was exposed, you can't have Christmas with who you choose. It just it was too heavy on my heart. I couldn't do that to these kids or my own family. So it's been hard. I've obviously lost some families, so my income has, went down over the time too. It was spring when my classes transitioned, so I lost all of my income from team. I lost my affiliate, so it was really hard, and I'm just very thankful for certain people. They knew who they are, who reached out and said, if you need something, I'll get it for you. If you can't pay that bill, I could cry. They were like, I'll pay it for you. Did I ever think I was going to be in that position in my life? Is crazy, and my husband, yeah, he works too, but we both pay bills and live here.
Well, it is, and I say it is what it is, but it's like the same notion of you give, never expecting anything in return.
Right.
And then when you're put in that position, you're sometimes afraid to ask or take from individual or family or whatever which you've been helping throughout the years. And you don't know what kind of impact you really have on their kids, their families. I mean, Kelly's family is a great example, and so is Ann's. You kind of look at it that each of their children have progressed in some shape or form, from education, from learning the right thing to do, and just some other little things that the kids will realize down the road, which we understand as well, parents and just adults.
Right.
And I think these kids, as they get older, will understand what that means down the road, where, oh, I remember that conversation, or I remember that, or I didn't realize I was doing this until you brought it up to me.
Well, and what's
Right.
really nice
And I think that culminates what you're doing. Go ahead, Dan.
I was gonna say with Miss Dana, I also have a 7-year-old son, as Mary alluded to. And,
on the iPad.
There are days, the iPad. There are days that he has to come to practice with us. When we're in person, just because of the way life is. He's fine, Mary. And what's great is she'll let him come in. He'll sit at the front of the studio, and he'll say, "Oh, I want to try this." And I mean, that boy can do a better cartwheel than some of the other kids.
He does good.
But he also with being involved with the rock stars, what I'm so proud of as a mom with both of my children is that they don't see the kids any different. They see it's not who they are with their disability, it's what they have. Oh well, and it's not, oh well, I shouldn't say oh well, that came out really, really bad. But they don't that deter them. It doesn't scare them. They don't look at them differently. Mary, I'm very proud of her for being humble with Elise, because she doesn't see Elisa. I'm sorry. There's a lot of girls. And they change every year.
That's why you put those, hello, my name is.
Yeah. We need those. But I mean, she does such a good job with Elisa. I mean, it's Dana and I sometimes we'll sit in the front and just watch Mary interact with her. And I want to cry, because she's 9 years old and she's just
And she's younger than most of my helpers when they start. Usually they start in 5th or 6th grade.
and to see
She's
Elisa
probably
to come
one of the
out of
biggest.
her shell and to have her participate, and Mary can motivate her better than Dana and I can. You know, it's just
Mary's like a little adult, you know.
There's a peer-to-peer relationship, I think, they thrive on that like peer-to-peer thing.
Yes.
You know?
They hold each other accountable. I mean, yesterday, even Cam, you know, at class was, wait, now this person's doing it this way. Am I supposed to be doing it that way or this way? And Cam was right. You know, she had it right. And that was, we were able to help fix that. So, I mean, there's so much more to it than just, and thankfully there's no pom-poms. So.
There used to be pom-poms, right, Kelly?
That's right. There used to be.
I think back on the topic
God,
of
what happened? I don't even want to know.
And there were these shiny, like pink ones. They were cute.
They were cute. We have them somewhere.
But
and I know we got to run here in a minute. A bunch of us have things to do. But I think on a brighter side, like, and these two women know my technology skills are lack thereof. I have like very little interest in technology. But with Zoom, with all of this, and Mary can attest too, like on the kid end of it, I've had to push myself to like get like an online platform. Like you asked for my website, I didn't even send it to you because honestly it stinks. Because I don't. I'm very fortunate that most of my business is really word of mouth. So that's how it kind of travels. I need a new website. So if someone wants to help me, great. But I'm not good at that stuff. But I had to get on Band. I figured out Remind. I figured out how to Zoom these kids. And not only did I figure out that and this Jackrabbit platform thing, I figured out how to change my conditioning and skills for the kids while they Zoom. And some of the kids, they get more of a workout in. And I know Cam's done it too sometimes, even in her bedroom at grandma's, where they're like sweating, so it's made us have those positive changes. I want to note too. It's not all negative things.
Look at Jim having to spot Mary the one time doing her back handsprings at home, but she planted flat on her face. It was awesome. I have it on video.
Oh, I was just gonna ask, was it on video?
It is.
Let me ask this.
A proud dad moment, drops his.
I agree. Every dad has a great moment. And what I would say is that, and we're because I want to ask some of the kids questions before they leave. So, Dana, where do you go now moving forward? Either kind of where you are now with pandemic and afterwards in the next, because right now you don't know where we're going. So I'd say like a 6 month. What's your kind of goal with the group if we were in normal?
I mean, most of these moms know, like, I really didn't change a ton of stuff, minus the Zoom and the different conditioning. And I think that's what's made it. I actually just had a mom comment on that. Like, she just likes the consistency that I've tried to carry through this time. And I'll be honest, like, I really don't, and even in the beginning, I didn't talk about COVID with the kids. I didn't talk about, like, oh, when this is over or when I get to see you. Like, I didn't focus on that. I focused on the kids and what they're doing now. And I think for myself even, and I can't focus 6 months ahead because I feel like you can't plan for that. I just have to focus on what I'm doing right now and what I'm doing next weekend and what I'm doing in the next couple weeks for these kids in the time ahead. I'm obviously hoping that kids come back next year and in the spring they join and want to start out. My class capacity, I mean, luckily I'm in a big enough space that I am able to space kids out, and due to some very fortunate donations, we did get a tumble track, thanks to Myers Family Insurance. We'll throw that in there, wink, wink. And we got more flooring. So, and then I've had mats donated. I've purchased mats. So we've kind of just kept the same thing going. But really in the future, I mean, it's just same stuff, different day. I like what we do and what we stand for and what the girls do. I don't really try to, like I said, I don't need to grow and have 20 more people added. I'm happy with the numbers that I have because honestly, it's more important to me that the kids want to be there. I want the kids and the families who want to be there to be there. I don't want just bodies there to have numbers.
I understand. Let me ask you this. Okay. Let me ask you this. Sorry to interrupt. If someone wanted to be a part of your group, how do they contact you?
Facebook,
where do they find you?
Facebook's probably the easiest way. You can go onto Miss Dana's Diamonds, the Facebook page there, and there's an email link, or I think my number's on there too. Usually they email me from the Facebook page. Is how I get most of my contacts. I've noticed. You can email me. It's flipformissdana@gmail.com. And or I do have a website, but it's not like www.missdanasdiamonds. Probably should be eventually, but it's not. But if you Google it, I do have a website.
Okay.
Well, you can sign up. I do have spring classes coming up real quick here for April and May. Those are a really good time to try out. Do you like tumbling? Do you like being with me? Do you like kind of what we do? It's not, you don't do cheerleading like competition cheerleading. Yeah, it's not pom-poms and sideline. I do help get people ready. Through private lessons, I do help get kids ready for tryouts. And some kids will take the April and May classes who are trying out to like cheer. I'm kind of known for that in the area too, like prepping kids to try out for high school cheer. A lot of people will say, it's kind of funny. It's like the weirdest story. Like people would walk in my living room for private lessons and the mom sits down and they're like, I've seen that pink wall forever, and I just really wanted to be here. And I'm like, underground business. I think it's weird. I'm always like, you always wanted to be here. They're like, I saw pictures.
So basically, you're kind of prepping them and giving them the basics and more to be successful in tryouts.
Right, and too, like I think, just like the cheer team, I'm known for a lot more than just the physical part that goes into it. I really train the girls more mentally and talking to them and confidence and just even how they present themselves. And I think Ann and Kelly can speak for that too. Like as the girls have all sat here, like they know how to be in front of an audience. They know how to be in front of news. They know how to do different things. Whether it's me, and I can say from their end, like me role modeling that for them or them picking up from when there was an older girl for them. And I think that's what's another thing that makes our program special is we always have those older role models helping with the younger kids too. So,
and that's good to know. I'm glad. I like what you're doing, and I hope you guys continue to do what you do for the girls, gentlemen. You're servicing a great thing for our community, and we appreciate it, Dana. Especially, I can tell that Kelly and Ann are appreciative of what you do for their kids.
Absolutely.
And I appreciate everyone coming on tonight. Thank you for your time. I know there's a lot of busy. Now, the best part of my show the best ending part that I like to do is I have 5 hard-hitting essay questions that I like to ask. I like to ask all of my people. So are you guys ready to have a little bit of extra fun?
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
So just for this purpose, we are starting with Reagan.
All right.
Go,
I ask 5 questions. They're short. And it could be either a professional experience or a personal experience. And this is also for the moms and Dana, so you're all not getting out of this. So we're going to Cameron and Reagan. I'm going to get the same question, so who's ever last gets pretty much time to think about it. So Reagan, Cameron, and Kelly, what has been your best accomplishment in life? Reagan, you're first.
Best accomplishment in life. Yeah, Ray. Go ahead. Go ahead, Ray.
It could be anything. There's no wrong answer. Let's make sure we're clear
You
on
only
that.
have 9 years of life. It's not that many.
We can hear Ann and them negotiating and what they're going to say. So,
You know what,
Cameron, what would it be?
I want to kind of help these two out and say that whenever they were born 3 months premature. And doctors told me that neither one of them would ever walk or talk. Cameron suffered a stroke shortly after birth. And Reagan has a neurological condition called Dandy Walker syndrome, where she's actually missing almost a third of her brain. So both of my girls was given horrible prognosis. And, the doctor said that they would be a burden, like say they'd have no quality of life. So I think the fact of they're at the present levels that they're at now is a huge accomplishment because, like say, doctors told us they were basically both going to be vegetables. So I would say that's pretty big for both of them.
Well, I like Kelly. I like your answer, but I still want something from Reagan.
All right, Ray. Go for it.
Hey, Cameron, I don't know what you're laughing at. I'm coming after. You're next. See, these questions you can't get away from. I will just sit here and just keep asking.
I have to run in a couple minutes here. My husband needs me to take the kids.
Okay, so Cameron,
Cam, what's your
I'm just
biggest?
gonna go right down. I'm just gonna go right down the line. Cameron, do you have an answer?
Probably
What about graduating?
graduating, getting you to graduate, kind of not like how everyone else did, but with the pandemic and everything.
Yeah, that had to be hard on seniors.
They graduated at the end of my driveway.
Yeah.
Yeah. Reagan? Don't worry, I'm coming back to you. And Mary?
You notice the eye roll has started? It's only
Yeah, that's why I'm trying to. That's why they're starting to get like really fancy.
Yeah.
It's time to
I would
sign
say
up.
my biggest accomplishment, both professionally and personally, is overcoming what I have from my childhood into an adult. I don't mind sharing. A lot of people don't know this, but it's why I'm so passionate about working with Miss Dana and The Bright Side and Focus Hippotherapy, which are all nonprofits, is because I didn't have much growing up. My mom didn't want me. My father didn't want me. It was very well known. And I was pretty much given up. The system back then was worse than it is now, if you can actually believe that. And if it wasn't for my coaches and my teachers believing in me, I wouldn't be where I am today. I fully account that to the teachers and the coaches and my color guard instructor and the band directors. They instilled hard work and, you do what's right, let God take care of the rest, and it'll all fall into its place. And never in a million years did I think that I would be married to an amazing man with 2 wonderful kids, and a successful business. I mean, I still can't get my head around that most days. But it really, we were joking today, if we won the lottery tonight, what would we buy? We bought tickets. We probably aren't going to win, but
What?
no, I don't know yet. But I couldn't come up with anything because I have everything I've ever wanted, and
there's nothing wrong with that. And
yeah,
and that's just, each person is unique.
Yeah. So, what about you?
Mary, you got anything in your 9 years? Yeah, she's gone. We'll go to Dana.
What about your best?
Dana, what's your best accomplishment? Because I'm going to skip over and move it, because I know everyone's kind of we're looking at time. We've kind of really got having a little too much fun.
I think almost ditto and it's really like my family, and I was I'm obviously very tiny. So for my whole life I was bullied. I was always told, you're too small, she can't do that. In kickball, the kids would make fun of me and be like, everybody has to move up. In 3rd grade, I remember this boy would say, she's a small fry, really mean. And even for a long time, people would say, oh, you teach dance? And I would just say, yeah, I do. And now I can finally say, I actually don't teach dance. I teach tumbling and cheerleading. So I'm really proud of who I am and what I've become. And I mean, I'm the first to say I don't have a lot of money, but I have a lot of heart and my mother, and I don't come from any money. And I love my family for teaching me, and my mom especially for teaching me how to help others and give to others. And it doesn't matter what you have to give, but I've been very thankful that with my business, I've learned, I would never just ask somebody to sponsor something or donate years ago. But I've learned people are caring and want to, and I'm a great organizer. People tell me I'm a great organizer, and I have a good visual for these. I have a vision for what I want to do, and I'm very thankful that people have believed in me and that vision to make everything happen. So I'm just really grateful for that. Just people believing me and supporting me and my family in general.
And I'd like
Okay.
to say
Well-
too, on behalf of both me and Dana, I know both of us, we used to have a cheerleader. Her name was Chloe that passed away. And she has become a great motivator for both Dana and I as far as becoming more active in the special needs community. She's the reason behind how I got onto the Walnut Grove board and helped get the special needs playground built. She's the reason why, Dana's been doing the trunk or treat and the Easter egg hunt. So it's like both of us have become really active in the special needs community. And I'm kind of proud of both of us for that.
That's really good to hear. You guys are doing great work. And I'll actually skip to this question because I think this one's a question that really is a good one, is kind of who's your role model in life? I think this is a question that I want to ask I'll ask the girls.
Oh, there's Robbie. There's the iPad boy.
Yeah. I'll start with Reagan. Reagan, do you have a role model? It could be anyone.
Like a girl you look up to or a person you look up to? What about Dana? You look up to Dana?
Say mom. Say your mom.
Miss Ann.
Cameron? Who's your role
I don't know.
What about a volleyball one?
Can it be? Well, I want to say like the beach volleyball player Terry Walsh Jennings.
There's nothing wrong with that.
I don't.
Okay.
No.
Mary, do you have a role model? Someone you look up to? I think she just looked at her.
That's only because I'm taller than you.
Oh.
Who do you look up to? Who do you want to be like when you grow up?
I don't know.
She just wants a horse.
Yeah.
Yeah. What horse would you like to ride? Well, and actually, I'll go Kelly and Dana and Ann just real quick. Who would just a role model be that you kind of looked up to over the years? Dana?
Honestly, like these two ladies are huge role models in my life. And there's a special lady in my neighborhood too. She knows who she is.
Okay.
Just who are huge supporters no matter what situation I'm in. I can call or text them crying or happy, and they just really support whatever decision I have. So, and I'm of course appreciative of my mom. Just there for me for whatever I need to.
Ann?
So it's a good question on who a role model would be, because growing up I didn't really have a role model.
I understand.
So it sounds silly, but and I can't believe I'm gonna say this, but I always knew that there was someone there. And I thought maybe it was my grandma, or something, but I know that it was more my faith that got me through my childhood and my young adult years. As an adult now, looking, when you ask that question, it's like, oh my goodness, who would I look to as a role model? I don't know how many people are going to actually admit this, but my mother-in-law is a great example of who I hope to be as a mom and a grandma someday. She's been more of a mom to me than I could ever imagine. I can call her and have called her with any and every question under the sun at all hours of the day and night. And she's a good person. At least I like to think so. Her son's pretty cute too, so that helps.
Just a benefit, right? Just a benefit.
Yeah, I mean, it's just an added benefit. But I really think my mother-in-law, Edie Myers, would definitely be someone I would consider someone I look up to.
Oh, there's nothing wrong. It's a great answer. Kelly?
I would say my mom. She's one of the strongest women that I know. She's taught me everything that I know. She's helped me a ton with the girls whenever they were little and they had all these needs, and she helped me. I would also say there's a lot of special needs parents that I look up to that are just amazing, parents and human beings. They're kind of like, superheroes, because you have to be as a special needs parent. My friend Trisha, who's a special needs parent, Crystal Antal, there's a lot that are just superheroes.
I think the biggest word for probably everything would be patience.
Yes. Yeah.
In all shapes or form, no matter what you're doing.
Yeah.
So, well, I appreciate you guys taking time out of your busy schedule. I know
I
Well, you have something for us?
Who is your role model? Who'd you just tell me?
Daddy,
And who are the other two?
Kevin Love, and Odo Beckham Jr.
Why did I know one of them would be coming? Well, I appreciate everyone taking time out of their busy schedule. It was always great to talk, and we'll talk soon. We'll have you guys on after the pandemic and continue what you're doing. I thank everyone for watching. I hope you've learned a lot from this group and what they do and how they help the community and how successeful and really what they're doing in life, how it helps. So thank you.
Thank you for
If you
having
want to
us.
see,
for having
not
us.
a problem.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. If you want to see more interviews, podcasts, or announcements, please go to anthonyvspano.com.